We find this week's Parsha, as we conclude Sefer Bereshit, Yaakov calling his children in Parak Memtet, Vayikra Yaakov el banav, Vayomer he'asefu ve'agida lachem. Gather together so I can tell you, Et asher yikra etchem v'achrit hayamim. What's going to happen in the eschatological era, in the later days. He kavetzu v'shim'u b'nei Yaakov, they gather together, and listen up. V'shimu el Yisrael avichem, listen to your Abba, Yaakov, Yisrael. And he goes on telling me about each one's individual attributes, about Ruvain, about Yosef, each one, Shimon, Levi, Klei Achim, Klei Chamas, Mechirotehem. There's a midrash that Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky quotes that is a yisod, especially for now, but for always, whether you're in yeshiva or you're out of yeshiva. The midrash says that Rabbanan Amri, one second. For Rabbanan Amri, Tziva Otan al Machloket. What did he do bringing them all together? He taught them about what is Machloket. Amr Lahon Tiyu Kulchon Asifa Achat. Make sure you are all together. And the Midrash says this is what happens in the Atzamot Yeveshot, in the Yechezkel 37, where after saying how we're going to come together, Ba'ata ben Adam, Kach lecha eitz echad v'katuv elav, etc., and for Bnei Yisrael, that as a result of the Gula, it's going to happen, the concluding pasuk of Yechezkel, V'asitem etchem l'goy echad. What is the Midrash coming to tell me? What was Yaakov telling his children? This is about Machloket, about Geula. What are you talking about? Explains Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky that he's coming to teach them about what Machloket is, what Shalom is, what your individual kochot are, but also do not be blinded only by your own personal kochot. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky explains that I would have thought you want to make sure to have Shalom. You want to make sure that each one has their own individual kochot. They should have hitva'adut. Yaakov should take each son and be there by himself. Let me tell you, Ruvain, what you have a tremendous strength. Let me tell you, Yisachar and Zvulun, each one individually, that what you have. So if that's what we want, Shalom, an individual kochot, he should have done that just individually. What is this? He kavetzu v'esafu. Everyone should be together. Explains Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky. Because we have this dialectic of this machloket, the yisod of machloket in a good way, of elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chaim, which means that Yaakov Avinu taught them, you have to appreciate your own individual koch, that you have a chelik, each person in their own chelik, whether it's an accountancy, whether it's a real estate agent, whether you're a person who's a gizborn tzedakah, a gabbai tzedakah, whether you're a person who's giving the shir, each person has their own tafkid. Whether you're Shevet Levi, whether you're Yisachar and Zvulun, whatever you are, you have an individual contribution to give Am Yisrael. But do not think that you yourself is all of Am Yisrael. You need to appreciate the other person and their koach. You need to be in the same room to hear what the other person is doing. For then you'll get the full message of you appreciating your own koach and not belittling what you have to give to Am Yisrael. But at the same time, understand that you can't have the motto of win-lose, that the only way I win is when the other person loses. No. To understand that each person has an important tafkid to help out Am Yisrael. So therefore, his last bracha or tefillah here is to teach them about machlokas. To understand that we don't have to be exactly the same, but learn from each other, elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chaim, to be able to make sure that you do not go into that person's property, his turf. That's where Shevet Yehuda comes, and they're the Malchut and the Chashmonaim, according to the Ramban. They came, we just finished Hanukkah, they came and went above their boundaries. You have to understand, they're the Malchut, whether it's the elongated Malchut or just the Malchut itself. You have to know, each person has their own koach, but know that it's part of a greater picture. This is Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, what he says also in Sefer Bamidbar. We leave Mitzrayim, Uvnei Yisrael yotzim biyad ramah, but we didn't leave like regular slaves without any pride. We went strong. Uvnei Yisrael yotzim biyad ramah. Ask Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, why was it then only the second year that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the Degalim, all these flags, and that each one according to their proper division? Do it right away. Explains Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky the same yisod. Because the Galim, these flags, as we know nowadays, each flag has its own message, its own individuality. And if he would have done that right away, then each person would have been to themselves. But first you have to have the erection of the Mishkan. And therefore, once you had a central focus of the Mishkan, then each Shevet could then have their own individuality. There could be no more beautiful message as we finish Sefer Shemot. As we finish Sefer Breshit, going into Sefer Shemot, of our own individual koach, especially now when we're in war times, to be able to know that we have to do something. We have to be able to contribute to Am Yisrael in these very difficult times. At the same time, Ima Anochi B'tzara, be part of the greater picture, appreciate what other people are doing, and that's how we get into Sefer Shemot, and this is how we are able to answer the message nowadays, where on one level, understand Hamakiret Mekomi, understand your koach, but understand the Makom Shel Olam of being part of Am Yisrael. Shabbos.